clicked on this video, you're probably just as confused but also curious about these new Makeup by Mario launches. So today we're doing a full deep dive on these new products. Since I was so curious about these and a little confused by them, I did not watch any other reviews of this product yet. I did not look at the Sephora reviews or any other reviews. I just bought them and then I watched the videos of how to use them on Makeup by Mario's website. Before we get into it, if you're not already subscribed, I would love to have you, and please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you do enjoy it or find it helpful at any point. And let me know in the comments below what your first impressions of these products were. Mine was definitely confusion, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. So let's start with the first product, which is called the Softsculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. I feel like that name is just made to be confusing. It says it's an all-over warming complexion tint, and this is the lightest shade, which is called Light. And it just comes in like basic white packaging. I don't think that this feels high-end. It is minimal and cool, but it doesn't have a lot of weight to it. And you open it up and you just get the product inside. Before swatches, let me read sort of the description of this. So it says this weightless balm, warm tints and evens tone while nourishing skin to transform your complexion. This multi-purpose enhancer is a solid balm skin tint and creamy bronzer all in one, featuring 6 shades. This formula is non-comedogenic and offers sheer coverage for a dewy finish. So it claims to be a balm skin tint and bronzer all in one. So this shade is pretty light. You can't really see it that much on my finger there. And then here is just a light swatch of the shade, and I will blend it out a little bit. It is very sheer, as you can tell, as they say in the description. It's basically a very sheer bronzer in my opinion. We'll get more into that later when we try it on the face, but let's move on to the powder. And by the way, this is a $30 product. The powder is $34, so it is more expensive than the balm. And I also have the lightest shade in this one, which is called Light. This is described to give skin an airbrush finish with this blend of perfecting powders to illuminate, blur, and set for a radiant glow. This multi-purpose perfector is a bronzer, highlighter, and finishing powder. Featuring 5 universal shades, this formula is non-comedogenic with sheer coverage for a natural finish. So this one also claims to be sheer. So it says that this one is a bronzer, you have a highlight in the middle, and then the top one is a setting powder. And I'm going to try to swatch these separately but also together. And upon swatching these, the formula is like a little bit like flaky, I would say. So those were pretty heavy swatches and you can't really see. This is the bronzer right here. This middle one, which shows up the most, is actually the highlight. It's like a golden highlight. And then over here is just the face powder, which is just blending right into my skin. So this does claim to be a multi-use product, and I did see it used multiple different ways. There is a picture on the Makeup by Mario Instagram of Mario using this all over his face just to bronze. So we are going to try that today, and we're also going to try it over foundation. So I'm just starting with this product, and then he used one of his brushes, which I don't have, but it seemed pretty similar to just like a sort of mid-density brush. This is a Luxie 504 large angled, and then he said you just stipple into the product, which I'm doing here. And he put it all over his face, which I want to do as well, but I'm still going to start in the bronzer areas just to see how it looks. This color is definitely warm, I would say. I think this would be nice if it does work out because I do self-tan my body sometimes, but not my face, so this would be a nice option under foundation just to like make my face match my body at least. It does blend in really well. I mean, yeah, it's not bad. Since we're just putting this all over my face, I'm going with a denser brush to just cover more ground. This is a BK Beauty brush, stippling it into the product, and then I'm just going to start putting this on sort of like a primer. I'm glad this is non-comedogenic because I would not feel comfortable like slathering it on my face like this if it wasn't. So that's actually quite pretty. I would never think to sort of use this as I just did all over my face, but it did make my face match my body a little bit better. It has this nice glow to it. It doesn't feel very heavy. I am curious how this will work under foundation and if it will interfere with the wear of my foundation. But like, I'm not mad at it. It's sheer, it was buildable, and I think it's pretty. There is no scent to these products, by the way, which I like. So yeah, I'm not like super impressed yet, but I think this is a nice way to even out my skin. If you don't wear makeup, or maybe you just wanted something like super light just to match your face, maybe to the rest of your body, this could be a good option. I'm just finishing up my foundation and concealer, but I wanted to mention that the Face Perfector balm thing is wax-based and it has oil in it. So if you are using that, I mean, even over or especially under your foundation, and then you're using a water-based foundation, it might cause a lot of separation, so just be aware of that. I haven't actually tested it with a water-based foundation, but just with my experience, knowing that water and oil do not mix, you might have some issues if you are mixing two types of formulas. So I just did light layer foundation and concealer. I wanted to mention as well that if you were putting this under a stick foundation or something that was a little bit more matte, it might make it easier to blend. I did find my foundation blended really well, so that is a pro to it. And now we're gonna whip out the same product. Let me grab the Luxie brush again, and then we're gonna try it just on like the bronze areas of the face, which is the video I watched on the Makeup by Mario site. This is how he uses it on the model. He steps the brush into the product and then he just starts bronzing up her face, and he says it's very buildable because it is sheer, which we kind of know that already. I think I like that the shade is pretty sheer because, especially being fair, sometimes bronzers can just be way too much, and it's nice to be able to build something up. Although I'm not really seeing like a huge difference, but you can see the glow. It's a very glossy, balmy product. And he also put some on the top of her nose. So I think that also looks nice, but I'm not really as impressed with it over foundation. It does seem to be very oily. My hair was sticking to it. I personally don't like very dewy, like balmy bronzers because I have more oily skin. I like something that's gonna last on the skin. But if you do like this finish, it might be something you're interested in. Yeah, like I can just feel it a little bit on my skin. It did not break up my foundation when I was applying it, so that's nice. I don't know, it's just nothing crazy so far. Next, let's move on to the Transforming Skin Perfector, which he uses to set the balm in the video. And I'm going to use a fluffier brush for this. This one is just more like a dome shape. I'm going to mix all the shades together. And then he just took this, and I think he started on her forehead and basically just set those same areas that he bronzed up the balm. I'm not really seeing like a huge difference. I do like that there's something to set the balm with because I would probably set it anyway. And then he said if you want more definition, you can use just the bronzer shade. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And this is a matte bronzer. And I'm going to focus this right under my cheekbones. It's actually pretty. I wish they had a mirror. I feel like that would be nice. And I'm also going to try to just use the setting part right at the top here, just to set other areas of my face. Ooh, that is way too shimmery for me to use as a setting powder. Yeah, this top setting powder is kind of like a highlight. I don't know. Or maybe it was just the shimmer on my brush. Do not love that. It really clung to like all of my texture right in the center of my forehead. So I would not suggest that. When I went ahead with just the bronzer and defined my cheekbones, I do like that I'm starting to see more of the bronze that I like. The finish is really pretty besides that area in my forehead that looks so bad. But like the rest of my skin does look nice and like has this soft focused finish to it. Another thing I will say is that this middle gold highlight shade is a little bit tough because if you feel like gold like shimmer doesn't look good on your skin, which I don't always find is the most flattering shade of shimmer for me, you might not enjoy this because it is a very like warm yellow shimmer and that gets mixed in and put all over the face. So the first time I used this, I used a more dense brush and just used it as bronzer, and I think it was way too shimmery. I saw a lot of shimmer like chunks on my face, but now doing the technique that I saw on his website, I do think it gave a more even finish when it was with a wider brush and kind of just used to set the balm. And then if you do want to add more definition, just use the matte shade of it. I will go ahead and pop in a video on my phone trying to show you what happened on my forehead when I just used that top setting powder shade and it made the texture really emphasized. So you'll be seeing that now. That's like the one thing I wasn't really crazy about so far. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back and wrap up my thoughts on these and kind of clarify what's going on with them, so I'll see you then. I actually just posted about these over on my community tab, but I picked these up from Kiko Milano. I've never tried this brand before, but these looked so pretty on Ulta. First off, this packaging is stunning. This is from their new birthday collection, and they are baked products, so I want to try the blush out today. This is the mauve shade, and this looks like an hourglass dupe to me, and I really love baked formulas. They do have like a scent to them, which I could totally do without, but I feel like with powders it usually dissipates. That is pretty. Okay, I love this. I love when like a product is super shimmery but doesn't look like shimmer on the skin, and it just gives you that like glossy glow. Definitely feels similar to an hourglass formula. Alright, I went ahead and finished up the rest of my makeup. All the details will be below, but let's debrief, starting with the first product we used, which is the Softsculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. By the way, these names I think are just a very complicated way of saying bronzer. Like, this is basically a powder bronzer and a cream bronzer. This is like a cream bronzer tint. I'm not sure if sort of the complicated confusion of it was part of the marketing, because I mean, if I'm confused by something and curious about it, I am more likely to go check it out on Sephora and purchase it like I did now. I'd love to know what you think about that in the comments below. But putting the confusingness of it beside, the formula of this like cream bronzer tint I think is nice. The shade is nice. I don't know, I just feel like my description of these is nice. Like, it's not amazing. It's not something I feel like you need to buy that's going to give you a totally different look. I think out of the two, I do like this product a little bit more. And I do think it gave me a really pretty, like, it looks like a super natural bronze look besides the shimmer from the powder. But this under my foundation I really liked, and I did enjoy how it looked over foundation. It's very sheer, it's very buildable, but it did set down as well, and now it's not as sticky and it doesn't feel heavy either. But moving on to the powder version, I just don't think I'm really a big fan of this. I like the bronzer shade. I really just think this middle golden shimmer, the shimmer is just a little bit too much for me. Even though I like shimmery bronzers, I think the shimmer is too visible on my face for my liking. I looked in natural lighting and just up close, and you can really see that there's golden shimmer on my face. Maybe because it's not my most flattering shade. Maybe I use too much. I don't know. Like, I think it looks fine on the cheeks, but I just isn't the most flattering. So be aware of that. If you have a texture on your cheeks, you feel like that is an area of concern for you that you don't necessarily want to highlight, I would avoid this one. I think they do play nicely together. I like that this sets this one. I just think this formula could be a little bit less shimmery. So I will for sure have to play around with these a little bit more, but right off the bat, I don't highly recommend them. I don't think it's something you need. That's totally different. It's pretty, it's nice. If you wanted to try them, give it a go. But I don't really see these becoming a staple in my makeup routine. I think this bronze tint I might really like to even out my skin tone. This one definitely seems to have a little bit more promise for me versus the powder. I'm not sure I would really ever reach for this again because it's so shimmery. I just have so many other bronzers that are glowy, and this just doesn't seem unique to me. Like, it's basically just a bronzer when you mix it all together, a very shimmery bronzer. So I'm not a huge fan of that one. So overall, I think they were fun to try. I'm glad I watched the videos on their website and tried it how Mario sort of intended for them to be used, because I did go in with them right off the bat, just how I'd use a bronzer, and they were a little bit much, but using them how I recommended, I do think it created a better effect. So that was it for our video. I would love to know if you feel like this looks different than like my bronzer usually does. Do you feel like it gave me like a vastly different effect, where it kind of just looks like bronzer in the end? Because I don't think it's that different. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and give this video a thumbs up. I do have more launches that I picked up from Sephora that I will be reviewing soon, so make sure you subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you don't miss those videos. But thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.